Good evening. It's crunch time in the battle to avoid the drop. The bottom two in the Scottish Premiership meet tonight, with St Mirren teetering on the brink. Anything less than 3 points against Motherwell and they'll be staring the Championship square in the face. It's a night to stand up and be counted. The gap between these two is 7 points. St Mirren simply must record a victory here to drag the Steelmen back within reach. It's a must-win match for the visitors at Fir Park against in-form Motherwell, and kick-off here is 7:45. Former St Mirren man Frank McAvenny is with us tonight, and the ex-Motherwell captain Stephen Craig, and I can just about see you in the sunshine. We don't often have this problem here. It's an absolutely massive match for both teams, and we often say must win, but we don't have to tonight because Gary Teal himself has said must win for St Mirren.
Well, he said it's a must win, but the team that he's put out is well, it's nothing short of terrible as far as I'm concerned. If I was a St Mirren supporter coming through in the car and I heard the team, I'd be tempted to turn round because there's no goals there, and the manager's saying there's goals in the team. I don't know. I think what they've got. He mentioned about 8 players. And
it's the same team that started against Celtic, isn't it?
Which they've done well containing Celtic, but they had one shot to goal. That says everything.
Big game for Motherwell, of course. They're looking up, that's what they're saying, and of course if they win tonight, 10 points would be the gap to St Mirren. Given the form of your old team and the way they won again at the weekend, would that just be too much?
Well, they're in good form, Motherwell. 10 points from the last 15 available, Daryl's good. But they have to maintain that. There's no point in looking back and saying, we've done well, yes, we're playing well. You must keep repeating the habits, keep performing well, keep your shape good, keep creating chances, have the energy and stick to your team shape. If they do that tonight, I believe they'll beat St Mirren. St Mirren have been on a poor run. They haven't been playing well, but they will see this as a game. If they win tonight, suddenly everything turns around and the momentum, or slight momentum, is back in their favour.
But it is interesting, isn't it? Scott McDonald was on with us the other night. Stephen Pearson's been in the press as well, and he's saying they're not even looking at Ross County above them. Certainly not looking backwards. They're looking to maybe 9th above Partick Thistle. Want to get right out that playoff place.
Well, that's because they're feeling good about themselves. Football has a habit of doing that. When you're playing well and you're scoring goals and you're winning games, everything's good and fresh, and you're looking above yourself, but that can all change. One poor 90 minutes, they can't afford that. Yes, as I said, it's 10 points from 15. They've had to do that because Ross County have been in such a good run of form. Partick Thistle have been a decent run of form soon, but this is must win tonight for Motherwell as well.
Just hearing right now, actually, Jeroen Tesselaar has actually picked up an injury during his warm-up. It's a groin injury we're here, so there's going to be a change here. Sean Kelly is coming on, we're just told as well. So last thing they would want, Frank, isn't it? Another change?
Well, they've obviously worked on it, and now they've got to change it. But I just don't see any experience in it. I don't see. I would have played Gow Thompson, who's got goals in him. I know he's played 14 and only got 1, but he is a goal scorer, and they need goals.
Okay, let's hear from the managers now. Gary Teal and Ian Barraclough have been speaking to Mark Guidi.
Ian, massive game tonight. Are you nervous?
No, I'm excited. Can't wait. It's another one 7 big game. So it's one of those that once Saturday's game was over and done with, you work towards this one.
You come into this game on the back of a good victory on Saturday against Kilmarnock. Confidence must be high.
We come into it in good spirits for sure. We'll look to take the game. We're at home again. It's under the lights. I enjoy that scenario, and the lads are looking forward to it. They're bubbling. So we've just got to go and back it up now with the performance.
And a chance to go 10 points clear off St Mirren, that must be a great incentive.
Well, it is, yeah. People will say it'll put them to bed, but for me it's not. It's just 3 points further away from them was important, and hopefully drag us closer to the teams above us.
And then young Lee Irwin, the striker, scored a terrific winning goal for you on Saturday. Just how good is he, and how important will he be for you tonight?
Well, we're trying to get consistency from him. A young player, he has his ups and downs. There's certainly things that he needs to go and learn, but he's in the right environment. He's enjoying his football, and it was great to see him cap his performance off with a goal.
Gary, is this a must-win game?
For me it is. So we need to come here and being positive and say our need for points is more pressing than anyone else's, so we'll come here on the front foot and hopefully get 3 points.
I suppose if you win tonight, it's a chance to reduce the gap to 4 points.
Yeah, that's the main aim. We've got to look at the team directly above us when we're sitting in the position we're in, and that being Motherwell. So hopefully, as you say, it's a 6-pointer as such, because you can reduce the deficit, but hopefully psychologically it's a big boost for us as well.
And it's the same starting line-up from the team that lost to Celtic on Friday night. A vote of confidence in the guys?
Yeah, I thought they were excellent. I thought they frustrated Celtic for long periods of the game. But you've got to add to the attacking threat that we've got to have tonight. And I feel as if there's players in there that can go and open the door for us and hopefully get the goals that we're going to need.
Who's going to get the goals for you tonight, Gary?
I think we've got a goal threat. I think we've got from Kieran Sadler, James Dayton, Johan Arkin, Stevie Mallon, and John McGinn, and even Jim Goodwin. Every one of them's capable on their day are going producing something. So hopefully one of them can step up to the plate tonight and get us a goal.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
It's interesting, the 6 players that Gary Teal just mentioned, only 4 goals between them this season. The entire starting 11 tonight, just 7 goals. And the problem's deeper than that, because the players have been given a chance this season right across the board, including the forwards. Have a look at that, Frank. You know exactly what the problem is.
Yeah, of course, it's one of these situations. I mean, you just look at the 2 managers there as well. One's talking about confidence and looking up, and the other one, it just doesn't fill me. Gary's doesn't fill me. He's talking about frustrating Celtic on Friday night, which they did do. But tonight's not about frustrating. They've got to come here and win. And I don't think they've got the team out that can do that. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see them. They don't want to frustrate. Why do they want to frustrate Motherwell? They need 3 points.
It's about going toe-to-toe with Motherwell tonight, really, isn't it? Stephen Thompson, you already said you thought he would start. It's Johan Arkan who's up there again. He had a kind of lone role against Celtic the other night. He was isolated at times. Is he the man to lead the line? Well, he is. Can he do the job?
Always disappoints me, Darryl, when I see him. I look at his physical attributes, the size of him, the way he plays against centre halves. He causes some problems. I wouldn't have liked to have played against him, but he doesn't cause enough problems. He doesn't get enough goals. But I think St Mirren as a team don't really have a goal threat, don't have a player who the opposition fear. Kenny McLean went in January. We always speak about him. A St Mirren team with Kenny McLean in it was a threat. Kenny McLean can make something happen. I'm just a little bit fearful of the attacking threat and the attacking intent of St Mirren tonight.
Motherwell, though, they do have goal threats and players who are in form like Lionel Ainsworth. When we were here a couple of games ago against Hamilton in the Lanarkshire derby, Stephen, this man was outstanding, back to his best.
Well, Ian Barraclough's trusted him and put him into the side. I think when Ian Barraclough first took over, Lionel wasn't getting the game. This is him at his best. He's got lots of pace. Again, you speak about attributes of a winger. He's got a good crossing delivery. This was against, Hamilton. We've seen this many times, Darryl, him scoring goals from distance. This is because he's full of confidence. He wants the ball. He drifts in off the wing. And when you speak to young players and coach young players, if the ball's been crossed from one side, you want the opposite winger getting in. So he's full of confidence at the minute.
And Frank, you can see from these pictures, he's a man who, when he's up for it, can make the difference.
Of course he can make a difference. He looks as if he's very confident, and he's taking people on, and he's got blistering pace, which I would like that to be in the St Mirren team, but unfortunately it's not. And Scott McDonald come in, and I think he's done wonders here. He's come down here, he's came back from down under, and he's came here and he's done what he wanted to do, and he looks as if he's enjoying it again. And St Mirren have got rid of players rather than bring players in.
Yeah, McDonald's been a big influence. Has it Lee Irwin? He's also been a big influence in recent times as well. A young man who just got his first goal in 27 appearances against Kilmarnock. Stephen, you were there watching him. You thought he was the man of the match.
Well, it's probably his best game in a Motherwell jersey last weekend against Kilmarnock, Darryl. Frank speaks about, Scott McDonald. I think it's a good partnership. Scott's at the stage now where Scott wants to link up the play and be the man who drops into the hole and plays the number 10 role. So you need a striker who's aggressive, who wants to take the ball in. He has to take the hits. But for a big fella, he's really good on the ground. He's got fleet of foot. He can move the ball. And the one little bit of magic that the game needed on Saturday, Lee Irwin stepped up to it. He stepped by people, and he's full of confidence.
What a difference that goal could make to him, Frank.
Great finish. Well, as we're talking about, you hear former players and players keep talking about confidence. And when you score a wonder goal like that, if you're not confident after that, then you probably shouldn't be in the game.
And they've got John Sutton in reserve as well.
Yeah.
They've got options, don't they? I should tell you there's another game on tonight, significant at the bottom. Ross County against St Johnstone. We'll keep you up to date with the score in that game as the night goes on. But we are closing in on kick-off here tonight at Fir Park. It is a massive game in Lanarkshire. Could be a nervy night as well. Both teams know there's a great deal at stake. Losing just not an option. We'll be back shortly with all the action. Welcome back to Fir Park. It's an absolutely massive game in the Premiership tonight. The bottom two are meeting, Motherwell against St Mirren. There's 7 points between them. If Motherwell were to win, it would be 10 points. If St Mirren were to peg them back, they'd be right back in the fight. Frank McAvenny and Stephen Craigan are with me. Is this the kind of game you'd have loved to be involved in?
Yeah, well, obviously any footballer, it's a game, no matter what it is, it means something. This means a lot. And I don't understand why Gary, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't understand why Gary has went with this team. There's a bit of experience there. Stephen Thompson frightens defenders. I don't know why he's not putting them up front.
We'll see if it works for him. They have had to make a change though. Jeroen Tesselaar was injured in the warm-up. Sean Kelly's come in. And Stephen, you think that is a major blow for St Mirren?
Well, I do, because I think Tesselaar is probably their best 1v1 defender, Darryl. And with Lionel Ainsworth in the form that he's in, probably Motherwell's foreign player at the minute, they would have been matched up. So it's a big job for Sean Kelly.
OK, as you can see, the teams are ready. Gary McAllister and Derek Ray will, as always, guide you through the whole match.
Thank you very much, Darryl. Good evening, everyone. Two proud clubs from the Scottish football heartlands, yet both living in fear of what the immediate future might hold. The good news for both is they still possess the power to lift themselves up, but time is of the essence for Motherwell and St Mirren, 11th versus 12th. Motherwell make just one change from Saturday's comeback victory at Kilmarnock, thanks to goals from Stephen Pearson and Lee Irwin. Marvin Johnson wasn't risked on the 3G surface then, but is back in the side tonight. Conor Grant drops to a bench that also accommodates top scorer and former St Mirren striker John Sutton. St Mirren were to be unchanged, but an injury suffered by Jeroen Tesselaar while warming up has forced a switch at left back. Sean Kelly gets the start instead. Johan Akan leads the line again, as he did in the 2-0 defeat against Celtic. Thomas Riley was due to be a spectator. At last check, St Mirren were trying to text him to let him know he might be required later.
Yeah, Motherwell will go with the familiar 4-4-2. They're looking solid. They've got a spring in their step. They've got experience. They've got pace in the side. And I like the partnership of Erwin and McDonald. St Mirren go 4-1-4-1. The same shape that frustrated Celtic for up to an hour. But I think they've got to show a different mentality tonight. They've got to go up and support Arkan.
Ian Barraclough has presided over a Motherwell revival, but wants his players to start better than they have recently. Gary Teale, the man in charge of St Mirren, says he regards every game as a cup final from now on. Scott McDonald has been the Motherwell catalyst in so many ways in recent weeks. Johan Akan yet to get off the mark for St Mirren. Remember, he was with Ross County in the first part of the season. Red-hot Ross County, you've got to say, will be kicking off shortly against St Johnstone. We'll keep you posted. A relegation dogfight, and a draw will do little to help either side. Motherwell, current occupants of the playoff position. They have designs on catching Ross County or perhaps even Partick Thistle above them. For St Mirren, it's a case of just finding a way to win. Failure to prevail will see the already long odds against them staying up lengthen further. Motherwell attacking the goal to our right in this first half. Gary Teale has said it is must win for St Mirren. Sean McGinn with the concession of a free kick. Well, Lee Irwin was Motherwell's best player at Rugby Park on Saturday.
Yeah, it just shows a player how much he changed when confidence is high. Nicely half-turned. Looking to go and get a shot. He's caught by McGinn.
Had gone 27 matches without scoring. Irwin, it was a classic goal to settle the outcome. Mark Richards between the posts for the Buddies. Josh Law could well fancy it. Stephen Pearson's beside him. Scott McDonald just moving away. Josh Law, the brother of Nicky Law, former Motherwell player, had an excellent game for Rangers against Hearts on Sunday in the Championship. It's going to be Josh Law for Motherwell. Comfortable for Mark Richards.
Richards reads it well here. Safely taken.
James Dayton trying to get in behind the Motherwell defence. Crystal had gone already. Craig Thompson, by the way, is the man in the middle tonight. Fourth time in charge of this fixture for him.
Richards fielded that ball very quickly. Dayton wins the free kick.
Stevie Mallon and And James Dayton pondering this. It's Dayton who runs over it. It's taken by Mallon. Not quite the direction he was looking for. Back in on the volley by the gifted youngster. Trapped by Johan Aka. James Dayton likely impacted his first game with St Mirren. Early goal against Partick Thistle. Proved to be a match winner. And the corner kick has been forced here.
Yeah, Dayton's a player who can operate on both sides. He's got some skill. Probably wins the corner.
Allen in position. Trying to bamboozle Motherwell. Down goes Dayton. Craig Thompson isn't interested. Ainsworth with the pass. Wasn't quite up to scratch.
Craig Thompson was quite quick to dismiss that penalty claim. Very little came from the St Mirren players. It's just a coming together. I think he'd lost the ball. It was a clumsy challenge by Scott McDonald.
It's the Aussie allowing his opponent to get back up onto his feet. To start giving penalties for incidents like that, you might be awarding 5 or 6 per
quite a few a game.
Yeah. Aka, towering striker. Many of us expected Stephen Thompson to start tonight. You heard Frank McAvenny's comments earlier. Just one short of the 50-goal mark for St Mirren, Stephen Thompson.
Yeah, I think we were all surprised. I just had a feeling Gow might have been involved from the starting lineup as well. It's obvious that none need to win.
Jim Goodwin pumping the ball on its way. Too much on it for Kieran Sadlier. George Long, 21-year-old Motherwell goalkeeper on loan from Sheffield United. He's enjoying working with Gordon Marshall here at Fir Park.
I think he'll grow here, as I've mentioned in the past. He's rated south of the border, this youngster. He needs game time.
Talent is certainly there. He's looked a bit shaky dealing with cross balls in some of the recent games. What a play it goes off the boot of Viktor Genev, the Bulgarian, 26-year-old. Joined St Mirren at the end of February after a trial. Was previously playing his football in Kazakhstan for Spartak Semi. The versatile Josh Law. Right back position has been something of a problem position for Motherwell going back over a few years. Law has played it right back before in his career, trying to whip that one in. Chase for Sadlier. Marvin Johnson throwing himself at the ball. Fit again, Marvin Johnson.
Exciting player, Marvin Johnson. He can break really quickly, he's got a lot of pace. Like all left footers, he's talented when he's gone on the outside and whipping balls in.
St Mirren have been a more formidable side on their travels than they have in Paisley for whatever reason. 16 of the 21 points they've gathered have come away from home. Ainsworth wasn't the best of touches when all was said and done as he tried to put the wind up the St Mirren defence. Scott McDonald giving Motherwell much needed know-how. 2 goals in 5 matches since joining. Scooped in there by Law, dealt with by Goodwin.
I think Scott McDonald will be a big asset off the pitch as well. He's got a confident air about him during the week, I would imagine, at the training ground.
Lionel Ainsworth assessing the situation, trying to hit the byline, and Irwin is the player in form. Lee Irwin dispatches it, and it's the perfect start for Motherwell in this crucial tussle with St Mirren.
Oh, and it's Ainsworth. Ainsworth with a fantastic run. It's Sean Kelly just called up late. Lovely little cut back, and it's the confident Irwin. Swivel, turn, finish. Only one thing in his mind, get to the byline. Kelly hasn't the answers. And there's a confident striker for you. Quality finish, great turn for a big fella.
Well, the amazing thing about Lee Irwin is he had gone 27 matches without a goal until Saturday. Now it's 2 in as many matches. Gary Teal certainly didn't want this sort of beginning. 1-0 to the Steelmen.
It's just the start Teal didn't want. But Ainsworth just going straight at Kelly. When you're called up late to the team, maybe that mindset just wasn't right.
Jason Naismith over there on the right. Motherwell's fastest league goal of the entire campaign, courtesy of Lee Irwin. Geneb really had to win the ball and obliged. John McGinn thought about the shot and finally does shoot, making George Long think.
A decent strike from McGinn. Long gets a good look at it from a distance here. Catches the flight nice and early. It's a simple save.
John McGinn, the younger brother of Stephen and Paul McGinn, both with Dundee. Trying at the moment to make certain of their place in the top 6. They have a bit of work to do. Now, Sadlier, does he have the composure for St Mirren? Wide of the mark.
Motherwell getting caught too high up the pitch, trying to play offside. Sadlier beats the offside trap. Steve McManus steps up. And it's a woeful effort in the end. He drags his shot badly.
Kieran Sadlier, the 20-year-old Irishman, was released by West Ham United. It's his 4th St Mirren appearance.
As he moved closer to goal, I didn't think he had a confident air about himself.
Motherwell, by the way, 1-0 winners in the 2 previous meetings with St Mirren this season. St Mirren have had players ordered off in each match. Jim Goodwin standing over the ball now, one of them. As though a yard might have been stolen by Geneb. Arkan with a header on. Kieran Sadlier trying to hold it up. And Mallon, and it was Keith Lasley who put in the challenge. Fair tackle apparently. Keith Lasley, the long-serving Motherwell captain, inspirational leader. Now Arkan, and the defenders all standing stock still, but the offside flag comes to the rescue of Motherwell.
Well, Motherwell back 4 confident that that flag was going to come up. It's a straight pass with a little diagonal run. It's just, oh, it's half a yard, if that. You just look along the grass cut there. There's the challenge from Lasley. 50-50s, he enjoys them.
And Stephen Pearson tackling very much in his repertoire as well. Mallon on the receiving end once more.
A cynical challenge here. Mallon just skips past him here.
Stephen Pearson just extended his deal, 2 years with Motherwell. And Lasley again, the whistle sounds. Lasley protesting. Incandescent, Keith Lasley.
I think it might have been Ainsworth for the challenge. I think it's for that one there, just a little tug on McGinn. I don't think it's the challenge there of Lasley. It was the first one.
Afraid to get in the face of Craig Thompson. Keith Lasley spent his early years in Paisley, but has spoken a lot about doing it for the town of Motherwell, keeping them in the top flight, trying to make it 31 successive seasons in the top division.
Not a bad record.
Well, you were part of the story, Gary, when they
doesn't seem
returned.
like it doesn't feel like 31 years. Great memories.
6 league goals for you that season, promotion season. Now Stevie Mallon with the St Mirren free kick. Against that Motherwell wall. Comes off Josh Law. Sean Kelly trying to create a bit of space, took a nick on its way through to Long. Quickly bowling it out. To get Marvin Marvin Johnson in position, away by Mark McCausland. Paisley born, 26-year-old defender.
Mark McCausland just coming across there to sweep that one out.
Mirren did have the ability to come back from one down earlier this season in one of our live matches. Firhill against Partick Thistle, went on to win 2-1. Thanks to a coolly taken Kenny McLean penalty in the dying embers.
The shape that they're playing tonight makes it a little bit more difficult. The 4-1-4-1 with Goodwin there as the insurance.
Marvin Johnson went down there, Gary, but referee Craig Thompson waving play on.
He's let the game flow, Thompson. There's been a few good challenges.
Sadlier over there on the right again for St Mirren. It was very much a containing job by the Buddies against Celtic. Once they conceded the opening goal just after the hour mark, it was difficult to visualise a route back into the game for them. McCausland slightly off balance. Tries to get back into the centre of the defence. Johnson, deflection there. Corner.
Naismith just getting close enough to Johnson. Deflects away for a corner.
Lionel Ainsworth. It's his third successive start. Stephen McManus amongst the targets. Motherwell, the 13th club of Ainsworth's senior career. Goodwin got his head to it. It drops for Johnson on the volley and pushed aside expertly by Richards.
Oh, this is wonderful technique when it arrives at Johnson. It's flicked up in the air, and that's a quality volley. Keeping it down. Arrives up, it's an awkward height. It's a super strike, good save from Richards.
Ainsworth again. To curl this one away. Oh, it was an opportunity. Stephen McManus. The header wide.
Well, I can't believe the space Stephen McManus has here, right in the middle of the goal. What is that, 7 yards out? Free header, there's nobody within 3 yards, 2-3 yards of him. He's got to score. He just gets himself free. It's a diving header, and he can't get it on target. He should be scoring there.
13 months since the last Stephen McManus goal. Will that come back to haunt Motherwell? A quarter of an hour gone. Great to have you with us on BT Sport.
I don't think he could believe how much space he had there, Derek, in the middle of the goal.
Jim Goodwin will take this St Mirren free kick. Aka able to get the better of McManus in the air. Could be a key confrontation. Goodwin. Lewis Lang shifting over. John McGinn trying to keep it going for St Mirren. Stephen Thompson not in the starting 11 for St Mirren. Stephen McManus, defender, but it was a great chance.
Yeah, he gets himself free from McCausland, and it's well wide in the end. It's a good 2-3 yards wide. He had loads of space and time. He's got to get that on target.
25th start of the season for McManus. And Chip Goodwin looking more than a bit perplexed. Free kick to Motherwell. Keith Lasley standing over it. 350th Motherwell League appearance for Lasley. He's going to let Ainsworth do the honours. Taken finally. Law. A shuffle of feet by Scott McDonald. Again went back to help out.
There's another clever pass from Law. Just dropping it into his striker. Lovely weight in the pass. Aka. Offside flag had already gone up.
Caen scored 2 goals in 19 matches with Ross County. The first portion of the season, no goals in 8 with St Mirren.
It's a disappointing record. I think at times when he comes and tries to link up the play, he looks a decent player, but is there that hunger, a desire to score a goal? If it's in his nature.
Irwin was forceful again. He's a player revitalised. Motherwell have been talking about him for 2 or 3 years now. A bright prospect. He had a fruitful spell at Arbroath on loan last season, 8 goals in 11 matches, only to then pick up a knee injury just when it appeared he might be able to stake a claim for a place in the Motherwell team.
No, I think it's a refreshing example, Irwin, for any young player, just to go out there, just drop a couple of divisions or a division and get some game time. He's benefited from that.
There's the hypothetical table, and we will show that to you on a few occasions tonight, with Ross County also in action against St Johnstone. Motherwell have designs on catching the Staggies. Partick Thistle as well. Even heard chatter earlier about maybe dragging Kilmarnock into it. That might seem far-fetched, but you never know.
Just listen to Ian Barraclough. I think he's targeting Partick Thistle.
Well, the thing is, Gary, that Ian Barraclough's side will go to Firhill on Saturday, and that could be very compelling if Motherwell pick up the 3 points tonight. Partick Thistle have to go to Celtic Park tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, yeah. And they can get close.
Jim Goodwin and Lee Irwin going down just about simultaneously. Comes off McManus. Sadlier. Anthony Straker trying to get tightly onto him. Goodwin. Here's the booze wherever he goes. It's Scottish football. The man from Waterford, he is a competitor.
Misunderstanding with the pass. He's looking to put Arkan in goal. Arkan came short.
There's Goodwin again. Generally don't need me to tell you when Goodwin has the ball. It grinds to a halt here for Motherwell. St Mirren know what a defeat would do for them. They do have Ross County to play on Monday. We'll be covering that match as well on BT Sport. The talk was that they were targeting 6 points from these 2 matches, really, to have a realistic chance.
Yeah, I feel that's what's required. I don't even know if a draw's enough this evening. I think they need to take all 3, and if they lose the game, I think 10's going to be too many.
Defeat tonight would certainly be calamitous for Gary Teale and St Mirren. Irwin. Johnson. Confronted by Jason Naismith. Marvin Johnson. Well, there's confidence for you. Well, goal kick it is after that.
Johnson does well. He takes it way up close to Naismith and just pokes it through for the nutmeg. And tries to drive it across that near post. He's a little bit disappointed. Didn't get a bend on it.
Deadline day signing, Marvin Johnson. Motherwell just beating Yeovil Town to the punch. They were very interested. Manus and Lang called upon. It's going to go Motherwell's way, to the annoyance of young Stevie Mallon. Just a reminder, more Scottish football on Thursday in the Championship. Queen of the South against Rangers, 7:30, BT Sport 1. In the Premiership, we're back in business on Sunday, 11:45. BT Sport 1, Kilmarnock against Aberdeen. Gordon Strachan amongst our guests. And then on Monday, St Mirren at home to Ross County, 7:30, BT Sport 1. Play allowed to continue here. It's Johnson. Lionel Ainsworth. Moving to the outside. Oh, that's a tantalising ball from Ainsworth. McDonald couldn't get there. Irwin was twirling just prior to that. And it's sliced away by Sadlier for St Mirren.
Oh, again, Ainsworth A delicate little chip up to the back post. It was clever play again.
Owen. Again F away that time. Motherwell winning most of the battles out there, but a bit of complaining from the St Mirren players. Sadly, that time the decision ought to have gone his way.
He's been quicker to the knockdowns, Motherwell, snapping into the challenges.
Motherwell tried to make it 3 wins on the trot. Something they haven't managed at all this season. Lasley. He was cool and calm. Law. It's going to be a free kick further back.
A good decision. Craig Thompson just spotted that little late challenge on Law. It was just a little ball from Josh Law as he played it up into the striker.
Ainsworth and Johnson. Taken by Lionel Ainsworth for Motherwell. Jim Goodwin's header. Come back to Johnson. Plenty of loft and no chances taken by Goodwin.
Goodwin's looking for some help from Ridgers there. I don't think he's too impressed with his goalkeeper there.
Well, he's combative. He's spiky, Jim Goodwin. 33-year-old. Pearson, Irwin, Lang. Waiting for it to be played over by Johnson. Crosland did just enough. Back in by Ainsworth. Irwin, back to goal again! It's a beauty! Oh, that is sensational! Lee Irwin! And the surge of the Steelmen continues. Misery for St Mirren.
Lee Irwin, that was quality. He had a lot of work to do when this ball arrived at his feet. This is wonderful skill, great awareness. When it breaks to Ainsworth on the edge of the box. He goes for the instant strike. The big fella's got loads to do here. Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful goal. He just turns again simply and just passes into the net. Great first touch, great control. Little drag back, and the finish is exquisite. That's top draw.
A new star is born at Fir Park. But St Mirren trying to battle back here. It's Lasley forced to clear it away. Lee Irwin, what a goal. Ian Barraclough certainly likes having him in the side. It's Irwin's 10th successive start. And it's an Irwin double, threatening to put pay to St Mirren tonight, and perhaps in the Premiership for the time being. Here's Goodwin's speculative effort. Goal kick.
This is a work of art here. It's cleared and headed, just gets put back in by Ainsworth. Again, it's very tight, but the first touch is great, and the way he just moves and shifts the ball to the left-hand side onto his left foot. He knows exactly where that goal is, he doesn't have to look.
He does enjoy playing against St Mirren. Hit it against the Bunnies back in August. Only goal of record in that game, and the long wait, the long drought. 27 matches, scored against Kilmarnock, decisive goal on Saturday at Rugby Park, and now 2 more against St Mirren.
He's just starting to remind me of a young Ian Barraclough, who I played with when at Leicester City when he was a young lad. There's big similarities between the two, similar builds.
There's a lot to like about Irwin's play. Irwin, the son of Henry Irwin, those of you of a certain age remember Henry Irwin, former Airdrie, Stenhousemuir, Alloa, East Stirlingshire player. Josh Law. Mallon. St Mirren have no choice. They've got to roll up the sleeves. John McGinn, high and hopeful into the Davy Cooper stand.
That was pretty desperate. Again, moves on his favoured left. It's going to take a great strike to score from there on that angle.
2-0 to Motherwell on this gargantuan night in the Scottish Premiership. No goals yet in the Ross County St Johnstone game, so Motherwell trying to creep up on County. Team finishing 11th will go into a playoff. One of the sides emerging from the Championship, the second tier. Trying to steady himself. It was away by Lang. Sadlier. And onto his left foot, Kieran Sadlier. The lead by James Dayton.
Dayton come off the left-hand side. Sadlier whipped it in. Just had far too much on it.
Well, they're in good form, the regulars in the East Stand, the Motherwell boys, as they call themselves. That's B-O-I-S.
Yeah, they'll be enjoying it. Two up, they're in a canter, really.
Continue to bang the drum for the Steelmen. And Jim Goodwin not best pleased at the moment, as you can see. Lee Irwin right beside the referee as well, Craig Thompson. Motherwell match of the season for Craig Thompson, third St Mirren game as well.
There's been a lot of growling, a lot of snarling from Goodwin.
Once again, Kenev. Oh, guilty, and guilty one more time. I suppose no real harm done. And Scott McDonald trying to force an error from McCausland. Here's Goodwin. The boos are getting louder. Stephen McManus. No problems encountered. Naismith over there to take the throw. St Mirren running out of space. And let's face it, they are running out of games.
Yeah, they need to start showing a little bit more ambition. They need to make a change. It needs to be soon.
Just were to hold up if Motherwell pick up the 3 points tonight. You're looking at a 10-point chasm between the two of them. Straker with the long throw. Not quite sure about Straker. Is he a left back? Is he a left-sided attacker? Using him in the left-back position with Stevie Hamill still out. And play continues. Is there going to be another one? Is there perhaps going to be a penalty? Yes! But the offside flag was up, so no spot kick. Well, it's a let-off for St Mirren. The defender's not really in position to deal with the threat here.
In fairness, the referee assistant, he had his flag up early. You can look at the cut of the grass there. He's definitely offside.
Johnson had made the dash. It was a correct decision. Andrew McWilliam helping out Craig Thompson. 2-0 it remains to the Steelmen. Handed on by Aka. Lasley. Irwin was chasing after it. Handed out a play by Genev.
Little skipper just doing what he's good at, just sweeping across in front of that back four.
Josh Law. It was so important that McCausland was able to get there.
Well, that's the quality you get when you play a midfielder at right back. Very comfortable when the ball arrives. That was a great ball in.
Johnson, Straker, McDonald. Now Keith Lasley, Wasn't clean contact from the skipper.
Well, we praised him when he swept across his back four. Shots from distance, not one of his great strengths.
Well, the St Mirren supporters might want to draw upon memories of April last year when they were 2 down to Motherwell, came back to win 3-2. It's a long road, however.
There's very little indication that that could happen this evening.
It was on their own patch in Paisley. 24-mile journey for St Mirren tonight. Jim Goodwin. And Lewis Lang with the header away. And one from Nottingham Forest. Lang. John McGinn, whose contract is up at the end of the season. If they do go down, it is going to be so difficult for St Mirren to hang on to players, certainly to offer new contracts to someone like McGinn. Ainsworth. Side step again into the gloves of Richards.
Well, he's showed he's got the beating of Kelly. This time he goes up against Genev. He had the beating of him as well.
Lasley. Through a power of work. Josh Law, that one for Lee Irwin to go after. Down goes Victor Genev. Free kick decision against Irwin. It is more than 4 years since last St Mirren won here, February 2011. From Michael Higdon, who would later play for Motherwell. 3 wins in the last 24 matches at Fir Park. Just wonder about the Jeroen Chestelaar injury, Gary. Had a pretty decent game on Friday night. Picked up the injury while warming up. The Dutchman, Sean Kelly, having to deputise.
I thought Chestelaar did very well against Forest on Friday night. I think it was the fact that Kelly, you know, his mindset would have been he's going to be sat on the bench.
It is 5.5 hours now, football terms, since last St Mirren scored. Law for Motherwell. 2 to the good. Johnson tried to force his way through. Against Naismith, they have it again here. The Steelmen. Straker's pass to Johnson. Fluent football from Motherwell. And it comes to Ainsworth. Good win away.
Again, St Mirren just not able to clear the ball quickly enough, getting caught in possession.
Josh Law signed a 1-year contract with Motherwell at the start of the campaign. Lasley taking it through towards Scott McDonald. Offside. Scott McDonald, who was one of our guests on BT Sport on Friday night in the St Mirren Celtic game.
Yeah, the confident Scott McDonald. He definitely backs himself, Scott.
Chirpy. Josh Law skewed it just a bit. Lasley taking charge. Forward by George Long. Also on loan at Oxford earlier this season. Ultimately wasn't in the plans of Michael Appleton, the manager. On loan from Sheffield United. They certainly believe in him. They're monitoring his progress here at Motherwell with a good deal of interest. When that time on Goodwin. St Mirren need a bolt of lightning. Something inspirational. Goodwin just re-spotting the ball. That's what he'll tell you. Swept in there by good win for St Mirren. Now can they fire it towards the target? Will be a corner. Pearson having to react.
Smith just trying to drive it across that 6-yard box. Good block by Pearson.
James Dayton just didn't have enough room to take that. Away by McManus. Back in there by Jim Goodwin. Motherwell trying to get on with it. Scott McDonald. Here's Straker. Lasley has it. St Mirren were trying to press through McGinn. It will be a St Mirren ball. Sean Kelly keen to grab it. Lasley. It's in on McGinn.
I think he stole an inch there.
Nice to see that humour is not dead in the heat of battle. Jim Goodwin for the Buddies. Motherwell might be away again through Irwin. Goodwin unable to make the tackle. It's Irwin's pass. And McDonald had strayed apparently.
Well, he shouldn't have. He's looking right across the line. It's a great first touch by Irwin and a nice bit of skill here. Is he offside? Oh, I tell you what, I think he's onside. I think you've got to favour the striker there. Straight to the referee's assistant there, McDonald.
Flicked by Ainsworth. Scott McDonald involved again. Well, Jamie Semple is the youthful groundsman here at Fir Park at the moment. They had to make a change on that front, and the players have all been praising the youngsters' efforts. He's still an apprentice.
Oh, you could tell with the way you could tell the way that the shading of the grass there, the beautiful straight lines that Scott McDonald was. I thought he was onside.
More than 5 minutes left in the first half. It's all going swimmingly for Motherwell on the goal-scoring front. Pair of goals from Lee Irwin. Okay. Just dealing it back to Mallon. Naismith for St Mirren. They rushed that. He's played every single minute of every Premiership match this season. Jason Naismith. Well, they're going without Stephen Thompson. Must be frustrating for him. Greg Wild alongside Stephen Thompson there.
And Greg Wild as well. Experienced guys there. They're thinking they could produce a lot more than what St Mirren have done in this first 40 minutes.
No handball against Goodwin. Here's Arkin. St Mirren goal. That shows the complexion of events. Can they find that goal? Motherwell in the ascendant. Owen's been just about everywhere. Well, he had options, and he knows it.
Again, this time they beat the offside trap. Can he get his head up and spot the run of Ainsworth and McDonald? There's two good options, one near post, one far post. And that's not the best cross from Irwin.
Well, Scott McDonald wanted a bit of service. Didn't get it from Irwin. But they have dovetailed pretty well the last few matches, those two. Physical look at the referee from Stephen McManus. It's another St Mirren free kick, a chance for them to launch it forward.
Motherwell have coped well with these diagonals so far. Man, they've just got to try and keep this in the box.
Jim Goodwin taking it. Well, winning most of the aerial jousts. Down his goal, Goodwin. No foul. Ainsworth. McDonald was able to get there. Scott McDonald, the Aussie, in a second spell with Motherwell. Coughland stepped it away. Back has gone Josh Law here. Tidy header. Just finds those pockets of space, McDonald.
Yeah, he's very clever at coming into those areas between the lines. Even though St Mirren have got a front sweeper, he's still finding plenty of space.
Trying to reach it. Charge might be on for Motherwell again, and for McDonald. McDonald against Mark McCausland. It's behind Irwin. Here's Lasley. Lee Irwin. Dragging Jason Naismith with him. Will be a bit of a chase for Lionel Ainsworth. Will be a St Mirren throw this time. Ball coming off Josh Law last of all. The feet could represent a hammer blow as far as St Mirren are concerned. Just disputing the position of the throw-in, Sean Kelly. Andrew McWilliam, the assistant referee. Here we go. Final minutes of the first half. I don't think there's going to be any added time. Ainsworth trying to get into his stride again. Aka. Lasley, he's actually come off second best. Mallon protesting his innocence.
Just a little coming together here. There's a little stamp there from Mallon. Just led with the sole of the boot there, catching Lasley.
At half-time, we'll hear from Darryl Curry, Stephen Craigan and Frank McAvenny. Their first half reflections. Ainsworth just missed out the dangerous Irwin. Instant control from Lasley. Perfectly done.
Resilient.
Ainsworth. Lovely work by Lionel Ainsworth. Do they have another goal in the future? Motherwell, they certainly do. Scott McDonald joins in the fun. Motherwell are motoring.
No, super wide play again. It's that man Ainsworth. Great skills, great touch. Kelly's got no answers. Little dink up to the back post, and it's the opposite winger. Johnson cleverly with the cut back. Great first touch. He knows exactly where Scott McDonald is. Exquisite first touch. Cute little cut back. It's an easy pass into the net for McDonald. All-round classy goal from Motherwell.
The two wide players contributing. Gary Teal wants to look away. The first half St Mirren will want to forget all about. Scott McDonald scoring for Motherwell after a delicious brace by Lee Irwin. And Motherwell are in the mood for their third victory on the trot. At the break, Motherwell 3, St Mirren 0.
I'm not sure what Ian Barraclough is saying in there, but it must be good because Motherwell are 3 goals to the good against St Mirren in one of the biggest games of the season. Football all week long in BT Sport, including a big one tomorrow night, Blackburn against Liverpool. That's the FA Cup quarter-final, a chance to get to Wembley and to meet Aston Villa there. Another game in Scotland tonight is Ross County 0, St Johnstone 0 as it stands. Frank McAvenny and Stephen Craigan have been watching on here, and I hate to say it from your old team St Mirren's point of view, but your fears have been realised.
Yeah, well, it set out to Well, I don't know what he tried to do. I mean, you have to come here and you had to win. You needed the 3 points instead of 3-0 down. Terrible defending. I mean, they've had one shot at goal.
It's not good enough.
Not even that goal.
Yeah.
Dragged it wide, so it's just not good enough. There's nothing there. He's got to make changes.
Absolutely, maybe changes to come. But it's a great first half from Motherwell's point of view. You picked out a battle at the start of the game, Stephen. You said Ainsworth up against Sean Kelly, who was a late substitute in the build-up for Tesselar, who was injured, and a lot of the goals have come from that side.
Listen, it's always difficult when the manager names a team, Darryl, and you're not in it, and you're a little bit disappointed, and suddenly with 10 minutes before kick-off, suddenly you get the call. And up against Motherwell's probably an informed player. We'd said pre-match about Lionel Ainsworth being sharp, being positive in his play, taking men on. He has to be creative. He has been the last 2 games. Tonight again, he's been absolutely terrific. And unfortunately for young Sean Kelly, he's been found wanting.
It's amazing the time he's got to take a touch and turn in the box, and it was the same for the second goal.
Not only once, but twice, and he's turned in his same foot. You don't give strikers, especially when we were talking about it earlier. It was all about confidence, and he's holding it up. Just don't jump. Just stay in your feet, and he can't turn. And that's the first thing you learn. I mean, defending. I'm not very good at defending, but I would not let him turn and have a shot like that.
Listen, we spoke pre-match, and Frank was concerned about St Mirren's attacking threat.
Yeah.
But if you defend like that, Darryl, and you don't close people down, and in 1v1 situations you don't defend well enough, you're always going to be in trouble. You can talk about attacking all you want, but if you don't do the basics right in defending, you're going to be in huge trouble.
It got worse as well, didn't it, for St Mirren? Because Scott McDonald, who was close to being in a couple of times, got on the score sheet.
Well, you always like Scott to score goals, but not against a team that I just wanted St Mirren to turn up and make a game of it. And as I thought at the beginning, I just think they didn't have the fire in the belly. There's only one man for me got it, and that's Goodman, and his legs have gone. But he's all over the place, and he just doesn't seem to be inspiring the youngsters.
I'll be honest, I think that. Sorry, I think Motherwell have been efficient in the first half, probably in 2/3 of the pitch.
Yeah.
But at the top end of the pitch, where it really counts and where it makes a difference and where you earn your money and where you get your goals, Frank, is in the final third. And Motherwell have been a lot better in the final third than what St Mirren have.
Well, they've got a threat.
You wondered if they make a change. Stephen Thompson's been called back in. I mean, that's the obvious one to make, isn't it, Frank?
Well, he should have been. I mean, as we're talking about, he's 36 now. He's not going to run over the top, but he's a threat and he can hold the ball up. And that's what they need. They need someone, because they've just not got anything at the moment.
Is it too little, too late? You did mention one chance. Sadly, I went right through on goal, and he didn't look like a confident man, did he, Frank?
He didn't look confident when he was going through. I thought he just there. That was when I thought, no, look, and he's fallen. It's one of them. I just don't. I fear for them, and I fear for them. Not just for the rest of the season. I fear if they go down. If they go down the division, I really do fear for them, because I don't see any of the young boys will make an impact in the Championship to come back up.
That is something Stephen Thompson himself said a few weeks ago. He fears for the future if they were to drop down a division. Well, I can tell you this, St Mirren have not once this season scored 4 goals in a game, and they need to do that in the second half if they're to deliver on what Gary Teal said he wanted tonight. That's a win. It's a great first half from Motherwell's point of view. 2 from Irwin, and then 1 from Scott McDonald. It's a mountain to climb for St Mirren now. Second half coming shortly. Changes at half-time at Fir Park here for Gary Teal and St Mirren. They're 3-0 down, so over to Stephen Thompson, the captain, being brought on tonight, and as has Greg Wild, who's not made enough of an impact really in Paisley, but perhaps this is his chance. It's Sadler and Dayton, the 2 wingers that are off. Do you worry now though, Frank, is a little bit too little too late?
Well, of course it is. I mean, he should have been playing at the beginning, Thompson anyway. I don't know about Greg, but Greg, if he gets the players, he can get a ball in, he can cross a decent ball, and hopefully Stephen Thompson can get on the end of it. But it's just the biggest thing for me, Darryl, we were talking about it off air. The fight was not there. From the off. The fans were singing, fans were getting behind the St Mirren's team, and there was just nothing. Absolutely none. The only one as we were talking about is Goodman.
And as you can see in there, Motherwell still inside the dressing room, just waiting for them to come out right now. They'll be absolutely delighted. The last time Motherwell were 3 up at half-time was 2010. Stephen Craigan was playing that day. Do you remember who it was against in the final score?
Please don't tell me we lost 4-3.
No, you didn't. You won 4-0.
Oh, that's okay. Well,
St. John's.
well, we'll take that tonight.
But it's been a while, but
I
what
do-
a night to produce that kind of a scoreline.
Listen, Ian Barcliffe will be saying to his players, keep it simple. Don't give St Mirren any kind of encouragement. St Mirren now have to chase the game. There will be gaps for Ainsworth, for McDonald, for Irwin, for Johnson to use their pace in the counter-attack. So as much as you can bring them on, that's fine. They will have the pace and they know how to catch them in the counter-attack. Don't give them any chances, Darryl O'Beatty.
OK, is there any way back for St Mirren here at Fir Park? We'll find out with Gary McAllister and Derek Ray.
And it was interesting to listen to the Motherwell players before a ball was kicked in anger tonight. They were looking more at a stairway to 10th or even 9th position rather than looking down at the bottom club, St Mirren. Firmly anchored at the bottom, you've got to say. And Motherwell leading 3-0. Begin the second half. Chock full of confidence, the Steelmen. A double from Lee Irwin. Scott McDonald with the third goal on the cusp of half-time. And just to confirm the St Mirren changes, Stephen Thompson and Greg Wild are on. Kieran Sadlier and James Dayton have gone off. Pete Lasley, the Motherwell captain. Just about everything going right for Motherwell, Gary.
Yeah, they were excellent in the first half. I thought they did the basics right. I thought they showed more hunger, desire. They were snapping into tackles. They were winning the ugly things across the middle third. And they were excellent in the final third. I think the second half here is a bit self-pride, but just regaining a bit of pride, St Mirren. Try and keep a clean sheet. And the next goal's massive.
Craig Thompson says free kick. So Motherwell, Johnson was the man impeded. You like the look of Marvin Johnson, Gary?
Yeah, he's got a nice eye for a pass, lovely vision. I think left-footed players always look very good on the eye as well.
Second by Ainsworth, Goodwin tried to win the header but failed to do so. Well, he might have just got a nick on it, but we'll have the tall targets up there, including McManus.
Just come off the top of Goodwin's head there.
Lionel Ainsworth. The delivery. And they're all appealing. Inquiry there. Possible handball.
Some big calls there. It's whipped in towards that near post area. It beats McDonald. Does it hit Goodwin? I think it does. Not thinking you much about it though.
So it comes off a player's head and then bounces off the arm in that fashion. It's, I think, very difficult to give a spot kick, isn't it?
I don't think that was a pen.
Josh Law. Ainsworth, stylish performer. Manus out towards Law. Just running out of space. We expected St Mirren would have the stomach for the fight. In truth, it hasn't been aesthetically pleasing. Off to a wretched start. Possession of an early goal scored by Lee Irwin. Second was to follow for Irwin, and Scott McDonald's third goal has put this just about out of sight.
Yeah, when confidence is low, Derek, just drains you of energy as well.
Naismith steers it back to Goodwin. Well, they've got their resources. Marshall. John McGinn, son of Jack McGinn, former Celtic chairman, former president of the Scottish Football Association. Lasley high into the air. Irwin. Offside flag had gone up anyway. Just looking over his shoulder. 21 years of age, born in Bellshill. Like so many who grew up in Lanarkshire, or footballers of the past who grew up in this county.
The Olympic Village. He's had an excellent first half, Irwin. So has this guy here. He's been electric
Ainsworth has a flair for the dramatic. Going to push it through towards Johnson. Too long, too strong.
Well, the idea was right to try and nick it through nice and early. He just overhit it, just sat up on him a little bit.
Well, let's see what Thompson and Arca can do as a pair now. Greg Wild on to add a little bit of pace to the St Mirren team on the flank. Chesselar was to have started at left back. Plan went out the window and he picked up a groin injury while warming up. Sean Kelly starting in his place. Lasley. It's a very formidable midfield alliance. Lasley and Pearson. A tackle from McCausland, who put himself higher up the pitch. And the card is coming out. It's a booking for Mark McCausland.
He's tugging the shirt. It's nowhere near the ball. It's the trailing leg as well. He's found it hard work tonight, McCausland.
It's a ball boy at the old Love Street when St Mirren won the second-tier title in 2000. His father Brian on the board of directors. Ainsworth, Arca back there as one of the defenders for St Mirren. Ainsworth on the way back to George Long. Just the one clean sheet so far with Motherwell. Came in the Lanarkshire derby. 4-0 win over Hamilton. All the damage was done in the second half. And Motherwell's most sizable victory of the campaign. Kelly just switching on, but offside is the verdict. We knew what McDonald's reaction was going to be.
Yeah, Kelly just stepped up cleverly there just before the diagonal, just offside.
Has a reputation for being a bit of a moaner, Scott McDonald. You've worked with him, Guy?
No, not at all. Not Scott McDonald. He's confidence. That's the thing. He's a confident guy. And we've seen that spread through this Motherwell team since his arrival. Along with Pearson, experienced head.
Gunnar Nielsen left Motherwell recently by mutual consent. George Long, the youngster, in goal for the Steelmen. 3-0 they lead. Anthony Straker came through the youth ranks at Crystal Palace, spent his early professional years at Aldershot. He's on loan from York City.
We're a little bit undecided if he's better in the top end of the pitch or as a left back. He gives good balance in this left side for Motherwell.
Big Lasley. Oh, such a bulldog out there on the pitch. Straker continues to deputise for Stevie Hamill. Had a chance to chat to Stevie Hamill earlier. Still hopeful that he might be able to come back after the split. Now there's interesting enough shot. And it's dealt with. Mallon trying to test Long.
Well, look, when the stats as a shot on target, it wasn't a problem for Long at all.
Direct approach favoured by Long, up towards Irwin. Motherwell will want to keep the intensity high. I'm sure Ross County are well aware of what's going on here in North Lanarkshire tonight. Ross County, very much the form team in Scottish football. 6 wins out of 7, 4 successive home wins in the league.
Fantastic run from Ross County. I'm sure Thistle and Kilmarnock will be watching with interest as well.
I can tell you, I heard from a few Partick Thistle supporters on social media today, and they assured me they would be glued to the action. I don't think this is the outcome they were hoping for. It was fluent enough, but Leslie at the end of that move, the decision goes against Motherwell. It's going to be quite the spectacle at Firhill on Saturday. Thistle against Motherwell. I don't know about you, Gary. I think I might just go along to that.
It's a good game. Massive game for Motherwell as they try to draw Thistle in.
Well, things look bleak for St Mirren, not just because they couldn't locate the ball. Alcan. Looks as though it's going to be a return of the Saints to the second tier. Been a top flight side since 2006 when they came back up under Gus McPherson. 9 successive seasons. Long throw by Naismith. Straker trying to win his battle. Mallon. Can they keep it going? Pushed away by Lang. Now Owen. And they have numbers forward here, Motherwell. Ainsworth elected to release it. McDonald didn't really have the angle.
Ainsworth again with the opportunity to slide in his fellow striker.
Straker. Naismith, he's out of position now. There's Marvin Johnson. Cosland doing his job defensively.
We'll just have wasted 2 or 3 good opportunities.
Alcan. Couldn't sustain it. Lasley. Space again here for Motherwell and for Ainsworth. Can do damage from that sort of position. Lionel Ainsworth just showed too much of it to Kelly. And goes the other way. Oh, he's chiseled a corner out of it, Ainsworth.
I thought he'd taken it too close to Kelly. The game's getting really spread now. I'm trying to get back into this game. Motherwell finding loads of space across the middle third. Some good positions in the final third, which they've wasted a couple.
Not been a substitute until fairly recently, Lionel Ainsworth, but very much first team regular again. Now can they test Ridgers? And Scott McDonald in the thick of things. "12 minutes into the second half. Trying to throw themselves a lifeline. Mallon, low and hard. Corner to the buddies, conceded by McManus. Well, they've got to start somewhere. Stevie Mallon at the out-swinging corner, insufficient guile. To his credit, Mallon went back in for it. Up to the ball ahead of Scott McDonald. Kelly. Oh, it's opening up again for Ainsworth. Just unable to force his way through. Kelly to the rescue.
There's a 3v1 there. Kelly did well with a desperate challenge.
St Mirren are leaving themselves increasingly open, but well, they've got to go for it. It's as simple as that. No point in talking about damage limitation at this juncture. Gary Teal just trying to shout out the instructions as Naismith releases the ball. Jim Goodwin. Sean Kelly, 21-year-old. So we're going to have him under contract till the end of next season. Not the number 21 international. pass. Too tight on Aka.
Aka needs to go up early.
It's taken quickly, but no damage there as we inch towards the hour mark at Fir Park. The gloom deepening in the St Mirren camp. Naismith. And Stephen Thompson tried the very difficult attempt.
Naismith just with his diagonal, the ball pops up into the air. Can he just get a hold of it? Try and bring somebody into play. Goes for the overhead.
Well, it was a difficult situation for Gary Teale after Tommy Craig was relieved of his duties on the 9th of December, initially appointed caretaker manager, and at the end of January, manager until the end of the campaign. And former St Mirren striker Frank McGarvey recently talking about the, from his point of view, fateful decisions made by St Mirren. The decision not to renew the contract of Danny Lennon. And Long with the header away, not enough on it. Now, McDonald. There's Irwin waiting in the centre. Support here from Johnson. Couldn't quite find it. Pearson. And he wanted it again. There's so many attacking options. McDonald in the middle of things.
Yeah, most definitely spoiled for choice there.
There's Johnson, who's looked eager, hungry. Pass by Mallon. What a look for space. John McGinn. There's intelligent use of it. Wild. Straight down the throat of Long. Swaying between the boxes. Ainsworth. McCausland. Corner.
And it had to be McCausland. McDonald was lurking at the back post. Lovely little stand-up again by Ainsworth. As you say, Derek, it's just end-to-end now, just waves of attack.
A set-piece opportunity for Motherwell. Marvin Johnson poised to strike this. Stephen Pearson, meanwhile, is on the ground, right on halfway.
Just looking at his ligament there.
Back for a second spell with the Steelmen. Stephen Pearson had that spell playing in India for Kerala Blasters.
Just in that stretching for that ball, it was played across the front of him. And just a little nip there. I don't think they can take any chances with this. Seems to maybe just be calming now.
Conor Grant has been put on alert. Pearson back on his feet, but they're going to be cautious anyway, aren't they? Not much point in trying to tough it out with a 3-0 lead.
No, especially when it's in and around that lateral knee area.
So Conor Grant waiting in the wings, the 19-year-old on loan from Everton. He's been at the Everton Academy since he was 13. Started the match at the weekend at Rugby Park. Gary Teale just having a quiet word there with Stephen Pearson. Johnson with it. And it comes to Ainsworth. Motherwell pile on the agony for St Mirren. Johnson feeding it back. Oh, and Ainsworth. Little touch on the way through.
Oh, just takes in a little nick away from the goal. They work it well, the man the advantage here. It's a great strike, there's a little nick there.
Motherwell knocking on the door again. Johnson's latest corner. Again trying to clear it away for St Mirren. Wild, McGinn. Carr wanted it higher up the pitch. Here's Stephen Thompson. Unable to control it. And it's all slithering away from St Mirren. More than 6 hours since the last St Mirren goal, football-wise. John Sutton, former St Mirren striker, is readying himself for action.
There's going to be chances. I think Motherwell have just been a little bit wasteful. If they'd just been a little bit tidier, they've worked the spare man, the little 2v1s. There should be more goals in front.
Just to go back to what we were saying earlier, the three big St Mirren decisions. Danny Lennon, no longer part of the equation at the end of last season. The appointment of Tommy Craig, no more as a number 2. St Mirren trying to get going here with Stephen Thompson. His header is gobbled up by George Long.
The striker just gets caught, just watching the ball at the back post, just unable to get any power on the header.
Third big decision by the Buddies, of course. The transfer of Kenny McLean to Aberdeen at the end of the January transfer window. And there were many at the time who suspected that it might just seal the Buddies' fate.
No, I think that was the big one. That was the key one.
Stuart Gilmore, the St Mirren chairman. St Mirren been for sale for a number of years now. They try to get it into the penalty area. Thompson flicking at it on the volley. Goal kick. Three goals here, all for Motherwell. No news of any scoring in Dingwall. Ross County against St Johnstone, so that's how the table would stand were these scores to hold up. Motherwell would be just a point behind Ross County. And the 11th place side, when all is said and done, will be involved in the playoffs. Motherwell are also advancing in the goal difference department, and that could be very important too. Just 3 behind Ross County as we speak.
That's why it's important not to be wasteful this evening.
Greg Wild to zigzag his way into the box. Just to settle for the corner, it comes off Law. So McCausland, Genev, Goodwin all make their way forward. Midway through the second half at Fir Park. Mallon, oh, and it topples around there. It was a double ricochet. But George Long remained calm.
It's a good ball whizzed across that 6-yard box. Takes a couple of ricochets. I think it hits the back of Stevie Thompson's head.
Didn't know an awful lot about it, Stephen Thompson. St Mirren last relegated season 2000-2001 under Tom Hendry, but St Mirren supporters will tell you they did put up quite the fight in the last few matches, just 1 defeat in their final 7 games. There's a big event coming up on the 18th of April, the 35th anniversary of their victory in the Anglo-Scottish Cup, and they beat Bristol City 5-1 on aggregate. You and I both old enough, Gary, to remember the Anglo-Scottish Cup.
You can remember the Texaco Cup here as well, Derek.
Yes.
You can beat the Anglo-Scottish.
John Sutton still limbering up. John Sutton, the brother of Chris. In by Mallon. And oh, it was an excellent header. McCausland thought he might have the beating of Long. Quick fire stuff.
Yeah, it was a good downward header from McCausland, but Long was equal to it.
Lee Irwin. It's been shackled more effectively by St Mirren in the second half. And Motherwell giving themselves plenty of breathing room. Sean Kelly missing out the midfield area. Lasley. John Sutton is going to come on, the next stoppage in play. Lasley. And Ainsworth knew it was pointless going forward, would have been offside.
It's a good ball in towards the back post. McCausland just gets a little bit of space behind line. It's a good stop by Long at the near post.
John Sutton will come on for Lee Irwin, and his reputation continues to grow. 2 more goals tonight on the back of a man-of-the-match performance at Rugby Park on Saturday, paving the way to victory. Irwin this evening.
Yeah, 2 real strikers' goals this evening. 2 goals when he had his back to the goal. Just clever swivel, the first one, and the second one just rolling the defender, passing it into the net.
Lasley slipped in to get it back to George Long. It's a good win for St Mirren. Glanced on by Sutton. Works its way to McDonald. Here's Johnson now. They find their way through again. Oh, it was an excellent stop by Richards, and my goodness, it needed to be.
Clever interchanges of passing. Grant just goes sailing into the box here, goes across the keeper. It's a good save from Richards. And there's the challenge on Kelly. McDonald, a little bit high. Again, good movement from Motherwell.
Connor Grant, the substitute, with that attempt. 18 minutes remaining. Motherwell ahead in terms of goal attempts. The most important statistic of all, 3 you see, bottom left-hand corner. Motherwell 3, St Mirren 0. And it really is difficult to visualise a way back for St Mirren in their battle to stay in the top division. Arithmetically, they're still alive, they're going to be come what may, but realistically, Gary.
Oh, it's a long way back from here. They've dug in a little bit this half. It's been Motherwell on a canter. It's not worthy of the 3-goal lead as well.
Scored by Genev. How to play it goes, however. Official attendance here at Fir Park tonight is 4,596. Motherwell supporters generating plenty of noise. Scott McDonald and Genev for company.
Again, I've just gone across the chest of McDonald with his arm.
Motherwell's last match before the split will be at Firhill against Partick Thistle on Saturday, but looking for another goal here, and Sutton, we shouldn't be surprised, should we? John Sutton makes it 4. Timely.
Now, this is another wonderful assist from Marvin Johnson. What a wonderful, wonderful delivery. Heavily whipped in towards that near post. And when John Sutton gets the run on you, he's a big, strong number 9. It's a diving header up high into the roof of the net. Just gets away from Genev. There's the ball in from Johnson.
Not involved again, Marvin Johnson. Onto the head of John Sutton. It's Wild. He gives it a lash. Goal kick, however. St Mirren staring into the abyss. John Sutton has made it worse for the Buddies.
Well, the delivery makes this easy. John gets the run on Genev. It's a super ball. The second assist for Marvin Johnson.
Lionel Ainsworth will be replaced by Dom Thomas. The 19-year-old, certainly one for the future. There's plenty of raw ability. Warm applause for Lionel Ainsworth, who has certainly come onto a game.
Ian Barraclough now looking forward, projecting forward to the next game. Two key men getting a nice little rest.
John Sutton scoring against one of his old clubs. Lionel Ainsworth, I can tell you, complaining of a wrist injury. Ball bounced off that wrist, close quarters. Now, Lasley in the advanced position. St Mirren unable to prevent the corner. It's Kelly doing the defending for the Paisley side.
The Motherwell skipper joining in the attacking movement, trying to get a bit of the action.
Johnson with his latest corner. John Sutton into double figures now as far as goals are concerned this season.
The same against Hamilton. The cameras were here the last time. Scored very early and coming on.
I think he netted, didn't he, with his first two touches. He was allowed to take the penalty. Here's Thompson with the initial pass, and it might work out finally for St Mirren. Will it? Well, that sums everything up. So it came back to Mirren off the woodwork.
Well, I thought when he delayed that the chance had gone, but he's unfortunate.
Now here's Scott McDonald with the scurry. Motherwell in the mood for more. McDonald's! A whisker away.
Well, it's Motherwell in the counter-attack here. There's only one way Scott McDonald's going here. It's inside onto his right foot. He just tries to fast bend it in. This is Mallon's chance. He delays. It's a cute little bend with his left peg. It's off the post.
Keith Lasley. 4-0 to Motherwell. That was the score in the recent Lanarkshire derby against Hamilton Accies. No getting away from it. Motherwell have hit form at the right time. Jim Goodwin. There's Greg Wild. Measured ball. George Long. No difficulties encountered. Just a reminder, it's Queen of the South against Rangers on Thursday. BT Sport 1, 7:30. Nicky Law, one of the best players for Rangers in their win over Hearts. Kilmarnock against Aberdeen, Sunday 11:45. BT Sport 1, that's in the Premiership. And then on Monday, St Mirren against Ross County, 7:30 on the air. BT Sport 1. Fancy footwork from Thomas, who wants it back now. Dom Thomas wants to entertain. Beautiful play it was by Thomas. It's McDonald and Sutton over the line for number 5. It's astonishing stuff from Motherwell. Absolutely no stopping the steelmen.
And it's the clever feet of Thomas. How do you like them? Gets in behind Goodwin here in the wide area. Oh, it's clever skulls. He gets the break of the ball. Tries to whip it across the 6-yard box there. And then it's Sutton for the easy tap in. Tries a little turn here. Does get the break of the ball. Tries to whip it across the front of the goal. It's a good strike from McDonald. It's an easy finish for Sutton.
I think he might be enjoying this business of coming on as a second-half substitute. John Sutton, 2-goal contribution. He made that look simple. It was, in truth. He didn't have an awful lot to do, hence the smile. Right place, right time. 5-0. On a night when St Mirren knew they really had to make it count. They haven't been able to. Motherwell, of course, can't let up because goal difference could be an important factor in all of this.
Yeah, they've got the 5, but again, I've mentioned it, if they've been a little bit tidy on a few more occasions, there's a lot of chances.
Dejected St Mirren faces. Jim Goodwin looks up to the heavens. Oh, the gods have been cruel. This is out McDonald. It's going to mean a 10-point difference between Motherwell and St Mirren. Granted, they've got to play each other once more after the split. Now be relishing the prospect of facing Partick Thistle. Thistle will face Celtic before that game, but who knows, there's a chance, as we speak at the moment, for Motherwell to be within a point of Thistle at the end of business on Saturday. High drama, and Straker with a dramatic fall here. It is a yellow card as McGinn walks away from the scene of the crime.
Straker, that's just a bit of frustration there. Again, it's high and up at waist height.
Ian Barraclough said before a ball was kicked he wanted Motherwell to start matches a bit better than they have been. Suffice it to say, his players were listening tonight.
Oh, they've been excellent from the word goal tonight. Thought they were first to all the ugly balls, all the knockdowns.
Stephen Thompson. Motherwell will want the clean sheet. They've been thin on the ground. Goodwin takes a swing at it. Jim Goodwin, I think, is about to learn that his number is up. There will be a substitution involving the man from Waterford. Mallon tried to construct something. It's gone Goodwin. It's going to be substitution time. Adam Brown will be coming on for St Mirren. Another chorus of boos for Jim Goodwin. Applause the St Mirren supporters behind the goal away to our right. Goodwin's shift is over. Adam Brown, the 19-year-old, make his 6th appearance of the season. Tall targets in there for the Buddies. A season that never really got going for St Mirren. Gary Teal only taking over in December as caretaker, and then till the end of the campaign as of late January. They knew they had to make a statement tonight. There has been a goal in Dingwall, details to come. Away by Lewis Lang. St Mirren trying to play their way through. There's the goal. Liam Boyce has come up with it for Ross County. And, well, like Motherwell, except multiplied by 2 or 3. Ross County playing magnificent football. Ross County 1, St Johnstone 0. Liam Boyce in the closing phase of that game. It's been the frustrating thing for Motherwell on this good run, but they look at what happens elsewhere and they see that their rivals keep winning. So as it stands, a win for Motherwell, and it's going to be a victory, yet could remain 3 adrift of the Staggies.
Yeah, but both are just edging closer to Partick Thistle now as well. Most definitely the form sides, Ross County and Motherwell.
What you don't see there, Kilmarnock on 38 points. And remember, Kilmarnock have Aberdeen and Celtic to play before the split, so who knows? It could be quite the battle involving several clubs after the split, but in all likelihood not St Mirren, even though arithmetically they remain alive. The heads are down.
No, I would have to say that they're doomed. I wouldn't see them getting back from the position they're in.
Everyone catching fire, and the thing about it too, Gary, is the common assumption for a while has been the team to come out of the Championship in the playoffs will have a great chance of playing top-flight football next season, but you never know about that, do you? Given Ross County, given Motherwell at present.
And Thistle are just gathering points as well. They've been playing pretty well.
Yep.
It's not a given.
It's not as though Partick Thistle have gone off the boil or anything like that, but we could be looking at a very high points total for the side ultimately finishing 11th.
And you would have to say that the Premiership side would be favourite.
It's added an extra wrinkle to the proceedings in the Premiership this season, and from the neutral point of view, I must say we're delighted about that. Here's Straker. He's lost his focus for a second. Close ranks, led by Lasley. Here's McDonald. Keith Lasley still going strong at 35. 350th league appearance for the Steelmen. And Thompson lays it off. And it's squandered again. John McGinn.
Just takes a deflection off Law. The ball into Thompson, just puts it in the path of McGinn here. Was that shot on target? Just flicked off Josh Law.
Stevie Mallon, vicious in-swinger. George Long was called upon. Straker. A number of Motherwell players have been injured for a while. Stevie Hamill, Paul Lawson, Ian Vigers, Jack Leach, St Francis Angol. Paul Lawson played for the under-20s yesterday, so he might be back in business as well. Stevie Hamill, hopeful of a post-split return. The way they're playing, it's going to be difficult for anyone else to force their way into the side. Nearly a mini accident there involving Johan Aka.
All the additions in the January window have really made a hit. Everyone, they've all landed.
Thompson with a header back. McManus intervenes for Motherwell. Sean Kelly with the throw. Sean McGinn trying to create space for himself. Funded away by Lang. Well, the form book said Motherwell would prevail tonight. Look at recent form. Matches involving these two sides. 4 of the last 5 at Motherwell St Mirren encounters going the way of the Steelmen. It's going to be 5 out of 6.
I've got to say, I agree with Frank McDohenny's comments at the top of the programme. I think Motherwell would have been encouraged when they just seen Arkan as the lone striker.
Sutton's pass into that area where McDonald had taken up his position. Is there going to be another one, Johnson? That's all that's been missing from his impressive performance tonight.
Oh, this would have capped off a really, really solid performance, an excellent performance. It sits up beautifully for him. Oh, he'll be disappointed with that.
Lasley's header back to Anthony Straker. The footsteps of Akan. These two teams will meet again after the split. At the moment, you'd have to say you're looking at Motherwell and Ross County, and that head-to-head confrontation as one that could be very meaningful in a few weeks, whenever it falls. We won't know for a while. It should be here at Fir Park. We go by the order of things, never any guarantee. Sometimes it's a case of one side having 3 home games against a particular opponent. Should be a home game for Motherwell against Ross County.
Would be a big advantage. They look confident here at Fir Park.
Conor Grant up the pass. Will be a minimum of 2 added minutes. Lasley. St Mirren beaten long ago, to be frank. Scott McDonald. Keith Lasley. Flag does go up. Sutton looking over towards the assistant referee. Motherwell knew a gilt-edged chance to go 10 points clear of St Mirren. Deep in added time, and McGinn forces a smart stop. George Long, sick pair of hands.
Yeah, it's a long way out from McGinn. Keeper sees it. It's an easy save in the end.
Looks like he'll get his clean sheet. Well, so many have contributed. Lee Irwin, pride of place has got to go to him. So many here in North Lanarkshire will be delighted for Irwin after that injury last season. Here's McDonald, and Scott McDonald trying to test Mark Ridgers, who's essentially on his own, the Aussie.
I think he was trying to pick out the movement of Sutton to get him his hat-trick.
Keith Lasley, he'll move back. It was described by Gary Teal himself as must-win for St Mirren. It's gone the other way, and things look very bleak indeed for the Buddies. John Sutton with a pair of goals after an earlier brace by Lee Irwin. Scott McDonald on target as well. You would not put your money on St Mirren in their survival battle. Motherwell continue to win. It's 3 on the trot. It's the biggest victory of the season for the Steelmen. The heaviest defeat of the campaign for the Buddies. The final score at Fir Park: Motherwell 5, St Mirren 0.
Derek, Gary, thank you very much. What a night that is for Motherwell. Another great home win here at Fir Park. They've really turned things around, but the look in Stephen Thompson's face says it all. Gary Teal was out clapping the fans. He also had resignation written all over him. It's a damaging defeat, very damaging for St Mirren. Rock bottom now. Let me tell you what's to come with us the next few days. We're back with you in 2 days, Thursday night, from the Championship, Queen of the South against Rangers. That's Thursday, 7:30 p.m. BT Sport 1. Rangers lost last time they went to Palmerston. And then on Sunday, back with the Premiership, it's Kilmarnock against Aberdeen. We're on here at 11:45 a.m. And same channel again Monday night. It's St Mirren again against Ross County, who have just won tonight. That's Monday, 7:30 p.m. It's still a big game for both of those teams. So the scores tonight and the fixtures for tomorrow as well. What a win for Motherwell. 5 more goals. And look, Ross County, Liam Boyce, another victory. 1-0 against St Johnstone. 3 fixtures tomorrow. Aberdeen against Inverness. That is vital in the race for Europe. Celtic against Partick Thistle. Thistle could be dragged back into this. And there's the Dundee derby as well from Dens Park. So how does the table look the Premiership this evening? Well, Motherwell, much healthier goal difference as well, but 31 points, 10 clear of St Mirren at the bottom. Still can't catch up with Ross County though. They are 3 ahead. Partick Thistle just 1 further ahead than County, and even Kilmarnock there 38 points will no doubt be looking backwards. They've got Aberdeen and Celtic before the split. It has been a terrific night for Motherwell. Another 5 goals at Fir Park. After 4 against Hamilton last time out here, they found form at just the right time, while St Mirren are in freefall. Our review is coming up next. It has been plain sailing for Motherwell. They've won by 5 goals to 0. Lee Irwin netted twice, adding to his strike at Killie last weekend. And then Scott McDonald added a third. Really was game-setting match at that point. But John Sutton, off the bench, added numbers 4 and 5. Let's get some reaction now. Lee Irwin and Scott McDonald are with Mark Weedy.
Lee, great victory for Motherwell tonight. Talk us through your 2 goals.
Just I think it's Lionel's that's tried to actually shoot, but I've scarfed them. If it's came to me, I've held up well, and just on a turn I've put them both away. Similar goals really.
How good has it been for you in the past few weeks to have such an experienced partner such as Scott alongside you?
Yeah, it's great. He's taught me through most every game, every training session. It's good to work with. But a bit money, yeah, but all the good reasons.
Scott, a great victory tonight for Motherwell. Are you now looking to catch the teams above you rather than looking over your shoulder?
Well, we hope so. We're full of confidence at the moment. Since I've came to the club, it's been absolutely nothing but positiveness. I've said that right from the start, and boys like this, turning up when I came along, it's been a breath of fresh air. If he keeps doing what he's doing, he's got a bright future. Yeah,
just how good can Lee Gordon become?
Well, as long as he keeps working hard. He doesn't want to get a big head yet. He's only just started, but he's got everything in the locker. I've said that to him during the week after the Killie game. He needed that goal now, and he's got another 2 tonight. So hopefully there's more to come for the big man.
And you scored again tonight. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. Obviously delighted for Saturday to get my one on there. half a yard, you said. So look, it doesn't matter who scores the goals. It's about the team. Like I said when I first come here, and it's about keeping us up. So hopefully we can continue to progress and get a few more wins.
Thanks very much, Lee. You're the BT Sport man of the match. Scott, you could do the honours. Well done, lads.
Thank you. Cheers. Cheers, guys.
Really good night for them. Frank McAvenny and Stephen Cragen have been watching on. Very disappointed, Frank McAvenny, because your old team were not good tonight. But let's start on Motherwell though, Stephen. They were fantastic once again at Fir Park.
Well, they were, Dal. Coming into the game, they were in top form. They had a good run. You see Legan back in with his big bottle of champagne, and I think he thoroughly deserves it. For a young man who struggled to score goals, he's kept working hard. He's kept working hard at his game. But in general play, I thought Motherwell were very good. But in the final third, they were excellent, and that's where the difference was tonight.
St Mirren were not anything where Motherwell were tonight, though. They were miles away, weren't they?
Very disappointed. What we were saying at the beginning has came true, but I'm just disappointed for the fans. The fans came here and they were singing away. And to go down like that without a fight was just, it was pitiful to watch, to be honest with you. I didn't see anyone, as I said in the first half, Goodwin running about and shouting and bawling at everyone, making tackles, but there was no one else. Even the substitutions at half-time didn't do anything. Tom will come on and he looked as if he was in the off because he didn't get starting. He looked as if he had a bit annoyance there, and there's just nothing.
You wanted a bit of fight, a spark.
Yeah.
There wasn't really much, was there? No. It was Motherwell who got on the score sheet first. Lee Irwin, who we spoke about ahead of the game. Well, he made a big difference at Kilmarnock at the weekend. He's done it again here, Stephen.
Well, the tone was set early for me, Dal, that Motherwell really attacked St Mirren early on. They went with 2 wingers, they went with 2 up top. The intent was there for the fans and for the players to say, we know it's a big game, we know it's a crucial game, we want to win it. And they've got a player in Lionel Ainsworth who can win matches alone. They've got a young player in Lee Irwin who can score goals, who's now starting to believe in himself. And when that all comes together, they're a big threat.
A lot of goals came from that side as well. And Sean Kelly, as you know, was a late addition to the team. Tesla was injured and he didn't have a great night, did he?
The whole defence was terrible. I mean, it was bad defending. Just didn't get close to him. Let him turn. Both the same way. The first one is so much space, and the second one, 2 men on him, and they still get turned and put it in the corner. Terrible.
We'll look at more goals in just a second, but first of all, let's hear from the St Mirren manager, Gary Teal, with Mark.
Gary, you told us this was a must-win game tonight. You've lost. Is relegation now inevitable for St Mirren?
Yeah, I think so. I'm disappointed because the way you set up, if you can't do the basic things, basically you're asking them to go and clear the ball in certain areas, you're asking them the centre forward can't get turned like he does in the box for the first 2 goals. It's just basic errors, and they say until we stop that, we're never ever going to move on. It's been the story of our season. But people need to take responsibility, need to take individual responsibility. I'll take responsibility as well, but people just need to obviously look at themselves and say, have they gave enough for this club this season? I very much doubt it.
Are you disappointed in your players tonight?
Disappointed in the goals we lost. I didn't think, it's silly standing here saying that, considering you've lost 5, but the goals we lost are basic errors, basic schoolboy errors. You're asking them, the position we're in, you go and clear the ball away from the area of the 18-yard box, and we had good opportunities to clear, get a bit of distance on it as well, and for some reason we can't manage to go and do it. That's basics. That's why we're sitting where we are.
I suppose you can point to many key factors why St Mirren are in this position. Was the sale of Kenny McLean one of the factors?
It certainly didn't help us, but we've got enough players in the squad. When you lose one of your better players, then it's always going to be difficult for you, especially when he was a goal-scoring threat for us as well. He scored 4 goals in 8 games for me since I came in as manager, and we've not really had that. He's still top goal scorer, so that shows you the problem we've had all season.
Do you feel you've had enough backing since you became manager?
You could say yes, you could say no, but every manager would obviously like a wee bit more backing in terms of maybe being able to invest more in the squad. But I know the job. I knew what it was going to be like. It was always going to be difficult. We're probably having a hangover from not just this season, probably last season. A lot of things could probably have been done to help the club going forward. But we are where we are, and we just need to go on with it.
Would you like to keep the job, Gary, next season?
I'd love to keep the job because I think I've got great ideas. We can go and move the club forward. It'd be a great opportunity for myself to go and start from afresh. There's a lot of boys got a contract in there in the summer, and if a lot of them earned or done enough this season to earn it, then it's a decision that somebody's going to have to make.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Mark asked him there, has he had enough backing? What would you say overall to that?
It's not a backing, it's the directors, but I don't know if he's got a backing of the players. The players didn't seem to want to play for him, and I don't understand it. This is, no matter what they say, this is the biggest game of St Mirren's career, game of the season, because it was huge. Motherwell, the manager came out at the beginning, he was so confident, looking forward to the game. Gary didn't seem that confident. He was saying, we're going to just go and keep it tight, and it's a game that they had to win.
You don't think the players that are playing for him, is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know if it's the manager they're not playing for the club anyway, that's for sure, because that was a terrible display.
They must be discouraged, of course, by what's happened in the recent weeks. We have to say about Gary Teal, though, he is a young manager. He's been thrown into this job. It was a job, yes, of course, he wanted, but a difficult situation he was put in, especially then when Kenny McLean was sold.
I feel sorry for Gary, if I'm honest. I think he's bearing the brunt of poor decisions within the club over the past 18 months to maybe 2 years. People look at Danny Lennon leaving, as much as they said, he hadn't maybe progressed the club. He'd won a cup, he'd kept them away from relegation. Tommy Craig coming in, and I'm not pointing a finger at Tommy, but Tommy went with young players, didn't sign enough experienced players. You look at Ross County and Motherwell over the past 6-7 months, signing experienced players to try and keep them away from the bottom. Gary then has to go in, he doesn't get any money, doesn't get the chance to bring players in. It's a learning curve for him. It's been a real tough learning curve. He's trying to make his way in management. Obviously it hasn't put him off because he's keen to progress, but I just feel over the past 2 or 3 years, St Mirren have been a club who haven't progressed. They've kind of stood still, and he's now bearing the brunt for it all.
Can't be a bit of experience. Motherwell brought in Pearson and McDonald, and the two have been absolutely magnificent for the club.
They can't give up the fight. They've got to keep fighting, of course, but it is Motherwell's night, isn't it? And we saw the first Lee Irwin goal. Soon he made it 2-0 as well, and it was awfully similar. Again, time in the box, time to turn.
Gary touched on it there. They were too easy to play against.
Too easy.
When you're defenders, you've got to be aggressive. You've got to win your tackles, win your headers, do the basics. We spoke about attacking pre-match. If you don't defend well enough, individually or collectively, you're in big trouble.
It's too easy, isn't it?
That's
far too easy. He's tight to him, but he's let him turn. He's let him turn and get a shot off. That's just, a centre forward could stop that.
And then Scott McDonald got in the action as well, and I think you thought at this point he was going to, because it was wide open for him, wasn't it?
It was wide. Well, it was one of them. It was a great piece of play, but Scott is. It was great to see that the boy was talking about him moaning at training. So if he's still got that in him, he's still got that enthusiasm and the fire to go and win games, and that's great. It can only be good for the young players at Motherwell Football Club.
It's a big positive for the manager tonight. All the forward players scored.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's the time of the season where they want things to go well for them. I think their aggregate over the last 3 games has been 11-1 in their favour. So I think huge credit has to go to Ian Barraclough. He's turned it round. 4 or 5 weeks ago, I thought they were cert for relegation or at least playoff. They've turned it round. They've been positive. He's put attacking players on. Defensively, they've tightened up and they've done well. So, huge credit all round.
And once again, John Sutton off the bench. He did this against Hamilton. Came on and got a couple, and they do have resources.
Well, he's just letting the manager know that he's about and he's not going anywhere. And that's just basic. That's just defending again. He's one of the main strikers and 2 defenders let him get in front. It's basics, as Gary was saying earlier.
Well, it's just been too easy, and I think actually it could have been more. And that's not being unkind to St Mirren. Motherwell's past choice and the decision making at times. When players were through 2v1 and 3v2, it could have been 7, 8, and 9. Darryl, honestly, I'm not kidding. It was so easy at times, but Motherwell earned it. They've deserved it. They've worked hard. Young Dom Thomas coming on, producing a little bit of magic. But John Sutton will be frustrated. He's scoring goals and he's doing well, but as is Scott McDonald and Lee Irwin.
And Chris Sutton does inform us that's the range that John likes, about a yard. Let's hear from the Motherwell manager Ian Barraclough now with Mark.
Ian, 3 wins in a trot, well deserved tonight. Could you have won by more?
I think we possibly could have done, yeah, with a simple pass, simple cutback. I think 1 or 2 desperate to get on the score sheet, but no, really good performance. Pleased it was a clean sheet. I think we got what we deserved. We worked hard first half. We knew there were going to be a threat throwing long balls forward, and we dealt with that. Picked up the second balls and moved it quickly.
And some well-worked goals for Irwin, McDonald and Sutton.
That's what you want. You want your front men scoring and getting into the habit, and all of them got on the score sheet. And again, pleased for the work that they're putting in, because they're all pushing each other. They all want to start in berth. The equation 3 into 2 doesn't quite go at the moment, but they're all still working very, very hard, and that's pleasing.
You're now 10 points clear of St Mirren. You play Partick Thistle on Saturday. Ross County won tonight. It's quite a battle to avoid 11th place now.
It is, and we've just got to keep winning games as we are doing. We're on a run. We know that teams are winning around us as well, but we have to keep our standards high, and we move to Saturday now. The recovery starts now in preparation for Partick Thistle away, which is a big, big game.
Thanks very much, Ian.
Okay, thank you.
Motherwell's biggest win since September 2006. It's a real statement tonight, but when you look at the bottom of the table and that playoff position now, my word, it's getting close.
And as much as you speak to Ian Barraclough and Stephen Robinson, the assistant manager, they say, we're not looking at Ross County, you're not bothered. But they must be casting an eye and thinking, my goodness, are they going to keep winning and winning and winning? But sometimes that's what pressure does to you. It brings the best out in your players, or it frightens them. Ross County and Motherwell is bringing the best out in them.
Well, they'll be looking at Partick Thistle. Thistle, of course, plays Celtic tomorrow.
Yes.
Maybe they'll be fortunate to get anything there. It would take a big performance anyway.
Take a big
and then it's
performance,
Partick Thistle v Motherwell.
That's a big one, isn't it? It's a good one. It's a good one for Motherwell, because they'll be so confident. And as you say, I don't think Thistle will get anything at Celtic Park tomorrow night.
It gets closer and closer, and it's great for the league as well. Maybe not the teams if you're involved down there, but it's a great run-in for the season now.
Well, it is, but Motherwell in good form, Ross County in good form. They're actually relishing games. Normally at this time of the season when you're towards the bottom, you're a little bit fearful because your form hasn't been good, but their form's good. Now it's Partick Thistle having a little look back. It's even Kilmarnock having a little back and thinking, I thought we were safe 2-3 weeks ago. We're not. So suddenly the pressure starts to build, and then Motherwell and Ross County, their pressure's been on for quite a while, so they can accept that. It's the teams above where they think they've been away.
I wanted to mention Kilmarnock to you, Stephen. Gary Locke was with us at the weekend, and I think we looked at their points total and thought they were going to be absolutely fine, but Aberdeen next for them, we've got that game. And then Celtic, they need to get something all of a sudden. They need to pick up some points. Look what happened to Hibs last season.
Gary was with us on Sunday, and he said he's got 5 or 6 experienced players missing as well. Now, that's not the time of the season to have your experienced players missing, when the games are getting bigger and the pressure's starting to build, and you're having to put young players in like David Simon has, as he done on Saturday for his debut. You want to put young players in when things are relaxed, not when things are tense. So I still think there's a little bit of mileage left in it yet.
And briefly for St Mirren, it's going to be difficult to approach that game against Ross County with us, live with us, isn't it now, because they'll be so down.
As we've been talking about, experience means everything, and there's no experience in the team, and it's a lot of young boys, and when the first goal went in, I just thought, we looked at each other and thought, that's it, the heads went down. The heads went down, and you just thought it's just a case of damage limitation, really. Yeah, we do have that game next Monday. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Great night for Motherwell, awful night for Gary Teal and for St Mirren. They're rooted to the bottom. Sports Hub is coming next with a bit more from us on that show, so we'll see you again shortly. Bye for now.
Scottish football on BT Sport, sponsored by William Hill.
Thursday night on BT Sport 1, live Scottish Championship action as Queen of the South play Rangers at 7:30. Then on Sunday morning we'll have another Premiership battle as Kilmarnock take on Aberdeen at 11:45.
This is what Sky Sports 1 looks like on Sky. And this is what it looks like on BT TV.